I don't remember everything from when I was little, but I remember the bedtime rule. My mom would tuck me in tight, tuck the blankets under my legs like she was afraid I'd float away. She'd smooth my hair, kiss my forehead, and whisper, "If you hear tapping on the window tonight, don't answer it. Don't get up. Don't look. Just close your eyes and stay still." I was 6 the first time I asked her why. She sat at the edge of my bed for a long time, like she was thinking about how much of the truth I could handle. And then she smiled. Soft, kind, and a little sad, because some things knock just to see who's listening. And once they know your face. She didn't finish the sentence. She just tucked the blankets a little tighter and said, "Sleep well, baby. Don't answer it." I hadn't been back in that house for almost 20 years. I told myself it was to help Mom. She was getting forgetful, misplacing things, leaving the stove on, wandering off mid-sentence. But really, I came back because something in my life had broken. I never told her what. She didn't ask. She just smiled when I pulled into the driveway, hugged me too long, and said, "Your room's just like you left it." It wasn't. The walls were still yellow, sure. The hardwood still creaked in the same spot near the bed, but the air felt heavier. The blinds were new, thin white slats that barely blocked out the streetlight. That first night, I stood in the doorway for a long time, looking at the bed, the window, the corner where my dresser used to be. I felt like I was walking into a memory that had been waiting for me. The first few nights were quiet, too quiet. I wasn't used to it after the city. No sirens, no yelling, no traffic, just the low hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the house breathing. But on the third night, something changed. I remember checking my phone, 11:59. I rolled onto my side and tried to fall asleep. That's when I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. I opened my eyes and just stared at the ceiling. It didn't move. The sound came again. Not frantic, not angry, just deliberate. Tap. Tap. Like it was waiting, like it had knocked before. My eyes slid toward the blinds, but I didn't look. I didn't even turn my head. I remembered the rule. Don't answer it. Don't look. But my chest tightened as I realized something I hadn't thought about in years. I used to hear that same sound when I was a child, right here, in this room. Tap. 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 The next night, I sat up in bed before midnight. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to prove to myself it wasn't real. Maybe I was just tired of being afraid. I kept telling myself it was just the wind, or maybe a tree, even though I already knew there wasn't one that close to the window. The air felt heavier that night. Not cold, just thick, like the room didn't want to breathe. And then, right on cue, tap, tap. I held my breath. It came again, and something in me broke. I got out of bed, moved slowly to the window. I pressed one finger against the blind and pulled it down just enough to see, across the street, in the Jennings yard. A man was standing perfectly still, not walking, not swaying, just standing. His body was long, too long and narrow, like his skin didn't quite fit. His arms hung low, and his face, I couldn't make it out, but even in the dark, I knew it wasn't human. The night after that, I looked again. This time, he was standing at the edge of our lawn. Still, closer, watching. And the next night, he was right outside the window. I could see the outline of his face through the blinds. Dark, featureless. I thought I was going to be sick. We didn't talk about it right away, not after that night. But the next evening I found her on the couch. No TV on, just sitting there, like she was waiting. I sat next to her, neither of us spoke for a while. Eventually I whispered, "I think there's someone outside my window." She didn't turn her head, she just stared straight ahead and said, "You looked, didn't you?" I nodded. Her face changed. Not panic, not shock, just a kind of quiet disappointment, like she'd always hoped I wouldn't, but deep down she knew I would. She leaned forward, elbows on her knees, eyes on the floor. "He came to me too," she said. "Started when I was around your age. Always tapping. Every night. My mother told me not to look, so I didn't. Not for a long time. I asked her what happened when she finally did. She shook her head. "It doesn't matter now," she said. "You looked. That's what matters." That night, I didn't sleep. I lay on my back staring at the ceiling, blanket pulled to my chin like I was 6 again. I kept telling myself I wouldn't check, I'd stay in bed, follow the rule. But I was shaking. Every time I blinked, I imagined his face, or what I thought was a face. At 11:58, I sat up. At 11:59, I stood. At midnight, tap, tap. No pause this time, just the sound. Sharp, hollow, close. I stepped toward the window, heart pounding in my throat. I told myself I was going to tell him to go away. I don't know why I believed that. I reached out and lifted the blinds. He was there, inches away, just the glass between us. I didn't scream. I couldn't. His skin was black, not like shadow, like pitch. No mouth, no nose, just wide, empty eye sockets. And he was looking at me, somehow. He lifted one hand and slowly tapped the glass. Tap, tap. I stepped back. He didn't move. I turned and ran. I didn't sleep in that room that night. I slept on the couch, every light on, blanket over my head, listening. I didn't bring it up the next morning. I didn't want to. I thought maybe if I stayed quiet, this thing might forget me. But that night, as we sat in the living room, my mom finally spoke. "Did he come to the window again?" I nodded slowly. "Did you look at him?" Another nod. She sighed. "You need to understand something," she said. "Once he's seen you, once you've seen him, he knows you. That's how it works. It's not about what he is. It's about what he sees. He's always watching now, not just from the window. Sometimes you won't even hear the tapping, but he's there." I wanted to scream. I wanted her to tell me she was wrong, but the way she said it, like she was describing the weather, that's what scared me most. I tried to go back to normal, but normal doesn't come back once you've looked. I stopped sleeping in my old room. I avoided the windows. I kept the lights on at night, and for a while, there was nothing. No tapping, just silence. I almost convinced myself it was over, until the night I heard it again. Not at the window, this time from the closet door. Tap, tap. Then, once, at the foot of my bed. Tap. I didn't look. I couldn't. I just lay there, frozen, listening to something I couldn't unsee. Something that knew me now, that had been waiting, watching, for years. And now, every night I wonder where he'll knock next, because he doesn't need the window anymore. He knows me now.